And so this is what I was talking about when I said, I really want to slap on the epoxy in the beginning before I put the 5.7 ounce carbon on, because it just starts to soak it up and it makes it conformable, because it's very rigid without it. But it's as soon as it hits epoxy, it starts to really soften up, which is nice and easy to work with. This stuff kind of reminds me of there's finger traps things that you put your fingers in and you can't get them out, because it has like that accordion type feel to it, and it almost starts to, as you put epoxy on it, it starts to shrink up around it. This carbon's pretty cool to work with. I don't use a lot of carbon. Stuff's expensive as heck, but this particular stuff, 5.7 ounce, 2.2 twill, whatever that means. So it's just the weave design. Now this is a tough spot right here. It's a really sharp bend. This is where I really have to babysit. Like I said, I have to go back over the next few hours. I'm just gonna have to check on this. And it's just a matter of going back every once in a while and spending a minute going back and just making sure that it's down. In this area here, you can see it doesn't want to go down. It needs to be really wet out. So I kind of just push the brush down and hold it, let it soak in. Never seen ducts like this. It's pretty cool the way they do it. Normally they have a seam running right down the middle of them. But this has its joint is actually part of the mold, where you see that it comes up 90 degrees to the mold, and it comes off, and then you glue it back together later, which is kind of cool, and it gives it a lot of strength. You see that's starting to go down. That's going down around this here. I've used other kinds of carbon that you had no shot at this. It would never work, and I end up just trying it and throw it right in the trash. Waste of money. And you got to have this very conformable type of carbon. One thing about carbon that's kind of a pain in the butt, you're doing it in part because of the cosmetic look, so you got to be really careful about getting bristles in the brush and your own hairs and eyelashes falling in it, and you can't really see it, but there's little pieces of carbon that come off of itself, so it definitely is it's a little tricky to work with. Okay, we got the one side done. So this will be the side inside the plane. So when you're got your wing off and you're looking inside, that's what you're gonna see. So it looks good. Hopefully the part that you see all the time on the outside looks just as good. So get off all those dust particles, like I said. Do about I guess It's about a 1-inch overlap. A little bit further. Then the other thing I do is, as I go back and babysit this later, as it starts to gel a little bit, I'll actually take some denatured alcohol and wipe it, and that'll get off some of any excess epoxy. But I tend to find it. I get most of everything that's needed soaked up without a whole lot of excess. Just making sure that I'm overlapped enough. There's that tricky 90-degree bend. be hard to see, but you can see I got a bubble right there. That's just that tricky spot. So I kind of just try to work it down. You gotta be careful with carbon. Like I said, you're dealing with a cosmetic issue or cosmetic aspect of this. You don't want to mess up, so you don't want to really pull on the weave too much. You know, sometimes you gotta just lift it up, push it down. Glass is not as tough to work with, and you're not as usually as worrying about cosmetic. I mean, I'll overlap pieces inside a fuselage or a wing, and you don't even see it. But with this, you're trying to make it look cool. So you can see what I was talking about when I was saying how it's like that finger trap thing. You get that accordion type deal. That's how it's going over that lip, and it's almost like sucking itself down, which is pretty cool. And never saw another carbon or glass do that before, like this stuff. We're looking pretty good. Just about done with the initial application, and now it'll be just a matter of going back over the next few hours and basically doing what I'm doing here. Just, I don't know if you could see that, how that's up. I want to push that down in there, make sure that stays in there. Now if it was a fiberglass duct, we'd be done. I just put it away. But this stuff's a little tricky, and I'm sure there's guys that have better techniques and can avoid doing that. But I have not figured out how to do it yet. If somebody wants to chime in and let me know, please do so. Save me some time. Alright, so put it back on here. And then that's it. Over the next couple hours, we'll just keep checking on it and pushing it back down. But we got ourselves a carbon duct, it looks like. Well, we will tomorrow when we open up the mold. All right, thanks.